Good evening, everybody. It is the first Monday in November, November the 3rd, and we are trolling along here in the year of 2025, getting at the tail end of it. So this is One Team, One Mission. We meet every week, 7 o'clock for a 30-minute training, a celebration, encouragement, all the things. And tonight we are going to hear from Donna, and I'm excited to see what she has for us. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Donna.
Awesome. Thank you. So you guys, hopefully you took just a minute to, Lori and I have kind of been working on a format, an agenda, if you will, for the month of November, and we'll continue with that for December and January and into the future, because it helps us to kind of stay focused on what we're doing. And I think ultimately it's going to benefit all of us, to kind of have a topic for the month, and then really have areas of discussion that we want to touch on during each of the Monday night calls. So obviously it's November, so the overall arching theme that we have is really just about gratitude and service, and tonight we're going to talk about mindset and momentum. And we had just a perfect example of that. You guys, sometimes it's the very smallest thing, right? So literally Cheryl just got her name changed. It doesn't take much to make us happy, right? There's all kind of wins that we can celebrate with regard to just life in general, our everyday activities and tasks that we're doing. You guys know that I work out every single day. Unless I'm having an injury, which I'm so thankful that I'm over that. You guys, we take so much for granted when things don't work right. I know Carol kind of gets that right now. She's in the midst of it also. But when things start working correctly again, like, you just remember how thankful you are. And so that's kind of what we're going to focus on this month. And obviously, I think there's a lot of spillover when there's gratitude that we are seeking out in life in general. It kind of spills over into our business as well, because our mind shift is that way, right? So when we approach things with gratitude and feel better about things in general, hey Simon, then I think
Hey, how you
business and
doing?
our customers obviously feel that as well. So with that being said, you guys, I've kind of set it up a little bit, but when you think about talking about those wins, and even just if you think about over the course of the last, I don't know, few days, right? Or if you want to think bigger, over the past month, what are some of those things that you can say, the task that you did, like there was something that you implemented that you followed through with, maybe with regard to your business, the way that you do something on a daily basis, or a conversation that you had that you weren't sure about having. Maybe it was one of those things that you were a little bit apprehensive about. So, I mean, I can talk all night, but I really want to hear from you guys. If there was anything that you'd like to share with us, maybe you had, like, we've been talking a lot about superbiome, right? Maybe there was a great conversation that you had because you were really listening. And as a result of listening well, that you actually you got to have a really great conversation with someone. So I'm going to stop talking, and hopefully one of you guys will share something that you would consider to be a win that you have.
I'll share one.
Okay.
Yeah. So last week I was in a coffee shop working, and I was trying to be quiet, but I was talking to a customer, telling him about the super biome, and a gal overheard me, a table over. When I was off on the phone, she came over and asked me about, she was like, just couldn't help but overhearing, and she asked me about the super biome, your probiotic, what company you're with, and all that. Anyway, as I talked with her, she was not a train. Well, she trains, but she's in that bodybuilding, bikini bodybuilding network, and in Fort Worth. And she does some training, but her fitness gym, recommends nutritional products. But she was really looking for a good probiotic, so she asked me all about it, wanted to see if her boss would let her recommend it. And we met another time and I brought her samples and told her more about it. And so we're kind of in the process of maybe them being able to recommend it to their clients. So that was just kind of wild because she just overheard me talking.
And did you guys hit it off?
Yeah, she's young. She's like only 21. So it's like,
Oh gosh.
I could be her mother, beyond grandmother, whatever. So, but yeah, she's real sweet. Yeah.
Good.
Isn't that
Yay.
funny? I mean, that was very random, but it was great.
It always makes you feel good. Like if you're, at least if you have the confidence to finish, to have the conversation, right? Like you weren't thrown off.
Hmm.
You were already kind of there in that mindset. And so it was good
Right.
to be able to do that. Very
And I
cool.
feel like I mean, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm older than everyone on here. I know Carol, you and I about the same age, but I just feel like I talk to anyone now. I don't feel like there's a lot of holding back. You
Yeah,
get to a certain age and it doesn't matter.
I agree. Anybody
Yeah.
else?
I have something.
Okay.
So everybody knows we have 9 kids and they're in, they're out, they're on, they're off as far as Juice Plus. Several of them are
Mm.
taking it on a regular basis. But when the super biome came out, our youngest, who's 21, was at home, and the consistency has never really been there. He's in college, and it's just. But I gave him the super biome and told him he had to take it at the same time every day. So he took it at night the first time I gave it to him, and then I said you have to take it at the same time. So he goes, okay, I'm just going to take it before I go to bed. And so every time I talk to him, I'm like, so are you taking the super biome? Because usually I'd hear, sometimes maybe whatever, as far as just capsules or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I take it every night before I go to bed. I'm like, are you taking your Juice Plus? Well, it's harder to remember to take that. I'm like, take your Juice Plus with the super biome at night. So, because he was consistent. Then I asked, okay, so have you noticed anything? Are you sleeping better? And granted, there's a lot of things, a lot of different things going on in his life, but he did say, he acknowledged that, but he said, I feel better about things, and I feel like my stomach is flatter. And
Mm.
he had some positive things to say. First, he was consistent, and then he had positive things to say. So that's a double win.
Well, and I mean,
Yes.
what's so cool about that is when you recognize that it gives you ammunition, if you will, like to be able to share that with somebody else, right? So to be able to have a story to share, to someone of a similar age or something, right? Where you had a kind of a reluctant young man who finally got consistent and now is seeing benefit from that. So that's
He
always
really
great.
likes the taste of the super biome
Yeah.
prebiotic. He really likes the taste. And when I said, why don't you just take your capsules at the same time? He's like,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I'll do that.
Why didn't I
So
think of that, right? That's
yeah,
mind blowing.
anyway, such a win. They come in
Awesome.
small
Yeah.
steps, like you said.
So it helps him sleep even though he's taking them at night. Because my son used to take it at night too, and he didn't have any problems. If I take it at night, it would wake me up because it gives me energy. So isn't that weird how each one gets their
We're
own
all
benefit?
Yeah.
different. And I asked that too, because I'm like, don't you have to get up to go to the bathroom? But he's not as old as I am. So no, he can hold his fine, apparently. This was the best time, and it works for him. So I think the moral is each person has got to find out what works for them and engage that. Certainly we can give suggestions, but
Mhm.
most of the time people are going to come out with their own deal, and we have to be ready to just let them give it a try.
Awesome. So what about maybe like moving outside your comfort zone? Has anybody ventured out and done something that they don't normally do and found success in that area, even if it's just small?
Mhm.
I just
So far.
started doing more social media than I haven't done in a while. So
Okay.
I'm being more strategic and more consistent. as I'm going through the love-led shift.
Okay,
So
good.
it's taking off the mask and all that stuff. It's,
Yeah,
but yeah, that's been my hidden win.
awesome. All right. Anything else anybody wants to share?
Share on the super bio.
Yeah.
So I've been taking it about 2.5, 3 weeks now since conference. And last weekend, I put on a pair of pants and they were so loose. I was like, I don't think I can wear these. And instead of unzipping them, I just pulled them straight off.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So I definitely can tell a difference. And I'm gradually losing some weight, even though I've noticed that I am able to eat wheat without it really affecting me as much as used to. So I think I'm definitely seeing some positive things with that.
Good. So what does that mean for you, Jeannie? Like what's the next step? So once you have like a great story like that, what will you do with that?
So I plan on first contacting my customers and sharing about Superbiome with them. And then just as if I can somehow lead a conversation into something like that, um, share that with other people. So
Awesome. Yeah, so sometimes just having again that those personal experiences, I think it gives you the confidence to be able to take those conversations past your normal like sphere of influence, right? So reaching out to existing customers, even past customers, if you can go back and think about conversations that you've had in the past, if you've kind of gone through that discovery with them and you know what some of the things that they are struggling with and you're helping them solve problems, right? That's what we want to be able to do. I want to take you guys at the beginning of the month. I was hoping this would be updated. It is not yet updated, but I still want you to probably over the course of this week pay attention in that Juice Plus on the go board that we all have access to. Remember that there's one section in there that the the folder just escaped me. Monthly action plan. I think that's what it says, and it will actually give you a monthly action plan, right? So really things to think about as we talk about goals for the rest of this year, for the rest of this month. It can help you set your intentions and set your goals, because remember when we start talking about intentions and goals, like, it's easy to say, yes, my goal is to have 5 new super biome customers, but you don't necessarily have control over that, right? I mean, you don't have control over whether people say yes or no or what's going on in their lives. Just like when you want to add team, right? You don't necessarily have control over how that conversation is going to go and whether or not they're going to say yes or no. But what you do have control over is, really setting the intention of, like Jeannie just said, right? Taking that story, that good experience that she's had, that gratitude that she has, and reaching out to her customers, right? Letting them know, make sure that they understand what's really going on with Juice Plus and the super biome. And so when we talk about wins, um, it doesn't always necessarily mean that the end result is a brand new customer, right? It doesn't mean that. It means that maybe you followed through with your own intentions, right? You followed through with what you plan to accomplish that day. And it may not have been huge, right? I mean, if there's a wedding going on in a week, trust me, like your goals and your wins are a lot different than at a different period of my life, right? So you have to kind of give yourself some grace if you know that you're in the middle of something and your knee is really bothering you and it's frustrating at this point, right? And you wouldn't think a knee would stop you from doing things, but it does. Like when you don't feel your best, like it's hard sometimes, right? Or when other things are distracting you. And so you have to kind of like do a little shift, right? And figure out what you can do and find some gratitude and some wins in those areas because that's how we build confidence. Does that make sense to you guys, what I'm saying? Okay. I don't want to belabor that anymore. Anybody have any thoughts after we've been talking a little bit about just kind of shifting, like using that gratitude to move into that goal setting for the month, right? So taking taking those positive moments, maybe figuring out what are some things that you can do, and then shifting that in as you set your goals and intentions for the month because as we know, if we enter this month and we don't do anything, right? We just let it happen. How many times have you guys started a new partner and they basically say, well, if a conversation happens, right? If somebody asks me about it, then I'll tell them, right? Well, do we grow our businesses that way? No, not typically, right? We really have to kind of approach this with some intention in order to actually grow it. And even though, you know, typically November, December, we're in that period of distraction, right? Because there is family stuff going on and there are holidays coming up. And yet we have to change our mind shift a little bit and look at it more as an opportunity to have some great conversations and practice asking good questions. So with that, the other area we've talked a little bit about superbiome. I'm going to encourage you guys. Lori and I have been really kind of trying to stay on top of like NMD chats. I know Cheryl does a great job of dropping information into the Boxer, but I've also tried to create a space in our One Team One Mission board under superbiome resources where, if Wendy Campbell has some kind of a revelation or Debbie Walton or one of them like Mitra Ray, I've put a couple things in there from Mitra Ray. Like there's some of that information from our healthcare professionals that's in there. Kurt Beavers has been really good about just kind of taking information and giving us different ways to say it. And so some of that is in there as well as the videos that we all have access to and that we can use. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that that's in there and I don't necessarily send out a notification every time I update it, but if I find something, I try to drop it in there right away so that I don't forget. So that might be helpful to you.
Donna,
So
thank you. That is huge because it's hard to keep up with everything. So thank you for doing that. That's really good.
absolutely. Yes.
Did you happen to see Debbie's today?
I did
Debbie
not. I
Walton?
haven't been into Boxer today. So
Okay, the one she posted in the interview chat, just FYI, I listened to it twice today, and I think I'm gonna send it out to my whole team on Project Broadcast. It was extra good. So,
okay, awesome. I will definitely
Yeah.
I'll take a look at that and put it in there.
okay.
So the other thing I really wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was just about doing a gratitude journal. Has anybody ever done a gratitude journal before? Cheryl, I know you probably have, right? And when Lori and I talked about this, there's different ways to approach that. Um, and some of some of us are going to be super comfortable just like doing a gratitude journal and really like taking time in the morning or in the evening to like write it down, right? Because I do believe that there is power in the written word and you might think that you are thinking about having gratitude, but until you actually start writing it down, it's hard, right? You get distracted even in your own thoughts. Are you with me on that? I mean, in the morning, like I don't just say my prayers. I have a prayer journal that I write it down and I love because it's in my Remarkable. So I can write it and then I can make it go away. Right. So that it's really just me with my own thoughts, and my own prayers, and it doesn't have to be out there for the whole world to see. Some of you will take that gratitude journal and you'll actually start turning it into a social media post, right? And because you want to start to share, because it probably resonates with someone who is, watching you. And so I think that's also a great way to share about our business. Um, has anybody done that before, where like they'll do over the course of a week or the course of a month, they like purposely go out and make that a part of their social media, something that they're grateful for? Have you guys done that before?
Mhm.
Yeah,
No?
I've done that. And like when I'm doing my morning, and then of course the Bible app makes it easier when you can just download a verse and you just post it
Yeah.
up. So that's been good to
Yeah.
share.
And it's hard, I think that you have to, we have from Wendy Campbell, like we have those 30 reasons of why we love our business. And you have to be careful, like you don't want to get all snarky about it, right? Like, um, because we do have so much to be grateful for with respect to this business, and the fact that we do have the flexibility that we have and the income that we have, just whatever it is, right? There's a lot of things that we can be grateful for, but it's hard. I think the challenge then is to make it as conversational as you can, and to almost like be really listening to someone, um, so that you don't say, well, thankful I don't have that problem, right? Because I work for Juice Plus. Like you can't be like that, right? But it has to be a natural, and perhaps you kind of get better at as you're listening and having that conversation with them, really just piquing their curiosity about why your life might look a little bit different than theirs right now because of some of the choices or the decisions that you've made with regard to how you spend your time, right? So it's not necessarily any better or any easier than what anyone else is doing. It's just different, right? And because of those choices, we do have, our life does look a little bit different, right? If I looked at what I would be trying to do right now in the midst of all of this, I don't know how I'd be working full time, a 9 to 5 job right now. It would be crazy, right? So we all have things that we can be thankful for. So I guess our challenge really for, as we leave our call tonight over the course of the next week is to do something with regard to a gratitude journal that you can do, right? Something that at the end of this week, you'll be able to mark off a win because you've actually accomplished that. And at the same time, it will start to change your mind shift set, and shift it towards that gratitude going into the remainder of this month. Because when we start writing down gratitude, um, I think it does change things for us. So over the next 7 days, if you can start that gratitude journal, if you can continue it, if you can be very specific, some people like to break it up and talk about, gratitudes within their family, within their faith, within their financial, within their business, right? I mean, or they just put it down as it comes to them, right? So there's different ways that you can approach a gratitude journal, but I'll just encourage you to actually write it down. And then for some of you, I mean, the real challenge, maybe that's something that you do all the time, but maybe like Socorro, you really want to be a little more prominent on your social media, right? So perhaps there's ways that you can integrate that into your posting schedule, um, and work on that over the course of the next 7 days. So are you guys good with that? Yep. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's
Yes.
all we have. If you have, I'll let Lori go ahead and stop our recording, and if you guys have any questions.